Welcome to our channel, Million Dollars Made Easy. On this channel, we love to run numbers for people and we create spreadsheets showing what you might have in the future. We use the returns for the S&P 500 for the last 100 years. We project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future, and the resulting numbers are simply a possible range of what may happen in the future. I wish I could get this spreadsheet in the hands of every high schooler and college student. I'd love to catch people when they're young. Let me just show you how this spreadsheet works. This basically picks any year from 1924 on and shows you the returns over here. And we're going to go ahead and pick a number. We're just going to pick $150 a month. So say somebody's 20, 22, 23, long in there, and they have like 40, 45 years until they retire. And they can just put away $150 a month. This is going to give a running total going down through here, what you would have if the returns were like 1924 going forward or 1925 going forward. And you can see the graph over here showing you how it went down, went up for 4 years, and then it hit these 4 down years. And what we're going to do is run it for every single year. So hopefully you catch how this works. This is the graph. These are the numbers. And we're going to run it for every period from 10 to 45 years. And we're going to show you the numbers you can have with just $150 a month. Okay, these are the numbers that we actually use. Again, these are the returns for the S&P 500. Nobody knows what the future is going to hold, whether we're going to have down decades like the 1930s and the 2000s, whether we're going to have some good decades like the 80s and 90s and the 20 teens. But what we do is run the numbers for every single year. But what I want to do is show you how all this works. Again, if we look at just picking the year here, 1934 numbers, this would be the graph after 20 years. You can see it's kind of going up quite a bit. Again, we showed you earlier if we had a 1929, or actually 1924 numbers, you saw how it dipped. This was only 20 years. What I want to do is show you going out through here. And by the way, this black row right here that's how much money you would have put in. It's $150 a month. It'd be $18,000 over 10 years and so on, 36 over 20 years. And what this does is show you the results for every single year. This is from 1924. You'd have $62,624. These are the numbers going down through here. This is the summary box. There's the 20 years, 62,624. You can see it going down through here. And what we see in this column right here is you put in 36,000 and the worst 20-year period. Again, this is over 100 years. The worst 20-year period, you would have 51,635 to show for it. The median of this column would be 116,000. And the highest you're going to see is 279,000. I want you to see if you can get it when you're young. This is what I love to show this young people. Watch how this graph changes and watch how these numbers change. Right now, this is a summary for the 20 years. You don't reach 500,000. Obviously, if you don't reach 500, you don't reach these other ones. So watch what happens as I go out here. 25 years, now 3% of the time you get to 5,000. Again, over a 25-year period, this is the 25-year graph. This is for 1924 numbers. I can click on any of these years and show you the graph you're showing, how these numbers accumulate. So over a 25-year period, you would have put in 45,000, and the worst case scenario, you'd have 105,000. The median is 212,000, and the maximum is 572. So you can see how all this works. 3% of the time, you make it to $500,000. How about the 30-year column? Here's a summary box. 30% of the time, now you're getting to 500,000 over a 30-year period in which you put in 54,000, of which the worst case scenario is 215,000, of which the median in this column is 388,000, and 30% of the time you'd actually reach 500,000 or more. Watch what happens when we hit the 35-year column. Now you've put in 63,000, worst case scenario 435,000, median 608,000. Now 82% of the time you're getting to $500,000. I have a 35-year period. Again, folks, this is with just $150 a month. If you're 30 or younger, 32 or younger, and you've got 35 years till you reach full retirement age, full Social Security retirement age 67, this is what you can look forward to with just $150 a month in the worst case scenario, the median, and the best case scenario. Let's go to the 40-year now. Again, keep watching this box right here. This shows the percentage of times you reach to these amounts. Okay, we're at the 35-year. Go to 40 years. Somebody has 25 years, 26 along in there. 100% of the time you get to $500,000. Why? Because the worst case scenario is 713,000 for a 40-year period. The median, look at this, folks. Median is 1,077,000. Guess that's why I picked this name of this channel, $1,000,000 Made Easy, because I wanted to show people if you have the time and can put in these kind of monies, look how easy it is to get to $1,000,000. Is it hard to believe $150 a month over 40 years would accumulate to this in the median? And one more time, 45 years, worst case scenario, 1.1 million. What does this show? 100% of the time you get to 500,000, 100% of the time you get to a million, and 36% of the time, color coded in gold, you'd actually reach $2 million. That's kind of how all this works. We also take into account inflation on this in this spreadsheet because we want people to understand that these numbers right here aren't going to have the same buying power in these periods. 40 years from now, this 713,000 isn't going to have the same buying power. It would have the same. It would have the buying power of 218,000 with a 3% inflation rate. These numbers can show you so much. But let's just do one more thing, folks. Would you really stay at $150 a month? If you could see what just adding 5% a year would do, in other words, 150 the first year, 158, 165, just kind of gradually going up here. Look at how this changes the numbers, folks. This is going to blow you away, especially in the 35, 40, and 45-year column. I'm going to go ahead and update this. Now look at these amazing numbers. We just increased it. We kept it $150 a month the first year. Then we just increased it by 5% a year, going down through. It never gets to be real a high amount that you're putting in there, and as you get raises or whatever, but just look at the way that numbers change. Let's look at the 35-year graph right here. You would have put in 162,000. The worst case scenario, again, this row in red is the worst case scenario in this 35-year period. You have 673,000. The median in this column is over a million. Again, $150 a month, by raising that by 5% a year over a 35-year period. Half the time you'd have more than that, up to 2.3 million. Half the time you have less than that, down to 673 at the worst case scenario. Look at the 40-year column. Right now we got 53% of the time you're getting to a million. 40-year column, just 5 years later, contributing this same amount, $150 a month, increasing that by 5% a year. 40-year column, now we have the worst case scenario, folks, over a 40-year period. Again, somebody that's 25, 26, long in there or younger, could have this kind of money. And the worst case scenario, this would be the buying power up here, of course, but look at the difference. 100% of the time you get to a million, 36% of the time color-coded in blue, you'd get to 2 million. And there's actually 5% of the time color-coded in gold, you'd get to $3 million. Folks, what if we have a 20, 21, 22-year-old? Maybe getting their first full-time job, can save $150 a month, and as the years go by, increase that by 5% a year. Watch what happens when I click the 45-year button to these numbers right here. 45 years, somebody in their early 20s, 100% of the time you get to a million, because the worst case scenario, you're almost getting to 2 million, 1.933. Again, this is 100 years worth of data. This is the worst case scenario. This is the amount of money you'd put in. The median in this column is 3.1 million. 96% of the time, color-coded in blue, you'd get to $2 million. And 57% of the time, color-coded in gold, you get to $3 million. But that's what we do on this channel, just showing people if you can be in it for these kind of periods, not just these short periods, because one quick thing I want to show you, you could run into a bad decade. What do I mean by that? In this case, you would have put in 22,740 over a 10-year period, and you only have $18,000 to show for it in the worst case scenario in the last 100 years. Why? Because you hit one of these bad decades, either these kind of numbers or these kind of numbers. But when you can be in it for the long run, that's when these graphs take off. If you look at the 10-year graph, you're going to be in sad shape. You're going to go down here like this. But if you can be in it for the 35, 40, just watch the graphs just shoot up. Unbelievable. This is compounding effect. This is the compound interest growth that you can see in your money. Folks, we were just running at $150 a month, raising that by 5% a year. And you can see the kind of numbers you can have if you have 35, 40, 45 years. If I can catch somebody, show these graphs to somebody when they're in high school, they would have 50 years or so. They might not be able to save $150 a month, but at least they'd be heading into their work careers knowing that what $150 a month could do for them in the future if they get started in their early 20s and have these kind of time periods. That's what I want to get these spreadsheets, this channel into as many people's hands as possible. I would love to get it into every high school in the land. I know that's probably not possible, but if you would help share this kind of information, show them there's a channel out there that'll run numbers for people that we show them what they can have if they get started young. In other videos, we show people that maybe have a beginning balance, maybe they're in their 30s and already have some saved up, and we can run it for these kind of periods, 25 and 30 years. If I catch somebody in their early 20s, and they know about this even in high school when they're in their teens, knowing the kind of numbers they can have if they get started young and have 40, 45 years, these are the kind of numbers they can look at. Again, in the worst case scenario, 45-year period, almost $2 million. Please help me get this information out. Please subscribe to this channel, share this channel with as many people as you can, especially get it in the hands of young people. Please comment. I love hearing from people. Please like the videos, and thanks so much for watching.